Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hello everybody. I have a few things I want to talk about today, and I keep trying to make a video and I'm having some issues, some technical issues. So I'm going to try and get this done really quick before this thing stops on me. 3 things I want to talk about. Backstory and slow fade. Third thing is habits. First, everybody's got a backstory. Everybody has history. Our history as a people begins with people having to gather food from nature, picking it and stuff. They didn't even know how to grow it yet. They had to figure that out. So then they were farmers. First they were just gatherers, then they were farmers. And we also had hunters. Traditionally, the women were the gatherers and the men were the hunters, and obviously anybody can do whichever now. We don't do a whole lot of hunting for our food unless you are hunting through your refrigerator, which takes me forward in this story. A little bit closer in our backstory is we have developed so much technology and so many labor-saving devices that now it is really easy to keep and consume foods that are not necessarily good for us because we're not eating right fresh from the ground and right fresh off the bones and whatever, but we're not eating the way, and we're not working for it the way we did. Standing in front of the refrigerator going, I don't know, that's not work. And putting it in the pan and cooking, chopping vegetables, y'all think that's a lot of work? That's not as much work as picking it and walking to the stream. They really worked. They really worked for their food. We don't do that anymore. So that is something we have to compensate for. We need to get back closer to that, the way the foods that they ate, the clean eating that they did, and we need to compensate for the lack of necessity to work for that food. We need to make up the difference fitness-wise for all the ease we have. We have ease. We have a life of ease as far as our food goes. So you need to compensate in your fitness for that. Number 2 was slow fade, also known as drifting, which I'm not talking about with the little sport cars where your butt swings around. No, not that kind of drifting. Drifting off track. We don't wake up one morning and say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be fit and healthy. And then like 3 days later, we're like, screw it. I like being fat. Or I like my heart disease the way it is. Most people don't do that. Most people say, on Monday, I'm going to start a new fitness plan, a new diet. And they get tired and then they quit. And they don't usually quit overnight. It's like, oh, I don't feel like going to Zumba tonight. And then the next class, maybe they'll come back one more class and they're like, they'll skip the next one, and then suddenly they're not coming anymore. Or you don't feel like getting up for that run in the morning. Or you are tired and you don't know what to make for dinner, and it's coming out of a package, full of preservatives. And you get off track. You don't get off track overnight. It's a slow fade. There's a Christian song about it, about how we go from being whoever we are to being somebody we shouldn't be, whether it's in our relationships or maybe drug abuse, maybe alcohol, maybe our diet, whatever, how we treat people. It's a slow fade. You get into these bad habits, which brings me to part 3. I'm going to combine the 2. We slowly fade off track. We take a little nibble from that apple, you know, I'm speaking figuratively because apples are very nutritious. You know, yes, overnight sin happened, but it's not the way we do it now. You know, Satan's over on the sidelines tempting us with bluebell, which tastes fantastic, and it has some fairly decent ingredients in it, but you wouldn't want to eat it every day, okay? That's a little bit off track. The point is, the only way to catch yourself in our bad habits, in our slow fade, in our drifting, is to be aware of yourself and observe yourself. If you really want to work at it, have someone who sees you every day, who is close to you, who communicates with you and knows what you do. Somebody who's all up in your business, like your spouse or your best friend or one of your kids, if they're old enough to comprehend, you know, what your goals are. Let them watch you. Don't get mad if they call you on it, because that's what you're asking. That's called accountability. So you need to be accountable for yourself, and you need to have someone else be accountable for you if you can't handle it. Watch yourself, because if you know you have these triggers, like a bad day or you're tired, and it's going to lead to, you know, you start at point A, and you know that which direction you take at this fork in the road, what you sticking your fork in, is it cheesecake? Or is it some spinach? So anyway, what was I talking about? I quickly faded off that track. But anyways, so you have the power to form good habits as well as these bad habits you're fighting against. And I know you're saying it's much harder. Yes, it is harder because we're sinful human beings. Fact. So what you need to do in observing yourself and all of this, work on that self-discipline, because once you start to really get in good habits, you can ask any of my students that come in that are here regularly, they know when they miss class. If they miss class because they have a meeting or they're sick, they hate it. Because this is where they come. They don't just come here to sweat. They don't just come here to shake their butt. They don't just come here because they think they're losing weight or know they're losing weight. They come here for multiple reasons. And it affects you if you miss. It affects you if you miss your fitness, if you don't go for your run, if you don't do whatever it is you do for fitness. When I don't come to Zumba, personally for me, the reasons I come here, it is for my mental health and my physical health. I feel like a better person when I leave, not just because I'm gloating that I got, sweaty and was being fit. I feel like a better person because my attitude is different. I feel more joyful. I feel more relaxed. I sleep better at night when I have class. You can ask my husband. When I get home on a Zumba night, I sleep like a baby. Every other night, I don't sleep. I'm like, my mind is going a mile a minute, and I have so much. So, as I was saying, multiple benefits of exercise, not just Zumba, but you get so many things out of it besides good sleep and just relaxation. You also increase your energy level overall, not just while you're in class or immediately after class, but overall just feel more energetic, better flexibility, better range of motion, decreased chronic pain, especially like back pain and hip pain. Of course, you want to be careful. I have another whole video about that. But there are so many benefits to getting your exercise. Zumba's a great one, so y'all could come and see me. But the main point is adding these habits. That is your goal, adding these good habits. And watch yourself. Pay attention to what you're doing. As soon as you start to see that drift, start to recognize it. Start watching yourself carefully. Be a studier of you. Be, like a sociologist, but focus on yourself. Okay? And remember, if you do get off track, you can always get back on. The only way you lose is if you quit. Can't lose as long as you stay in the race. Pit stop is okay. It's okay to refresh and get back on. It is in a setback. It's just a setup for a comeback. So it's a journey, people. Fitness is a journey. It's not a destination. Yes, we're going toward somewhere, but it never ends. We just have to continually press on and do our best to be as healthy as possible. Love y'all. Have a great day. Have a great Labor Day weekend. Get out and do something, move your body, do something that makes you feel good and is good for you. Okay, I'll see you next week.